are doing.
It's literally like every. It feels like my whole childhood is being like thrown into court.
Well, here's the thing.
Like everybody that was big when we were coming up, like everybody's getting like they did this or they did that.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room, Puffy. Let's just get to it. I know it's coming.
And you're definitely personal. Like you've done shows for him, you know him, so like
I broke Puffy.
You've been to the parties?
No, because there weren't any.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's fucked up. Is look at the case that they rolled out. Okay, they said there's Jeffrey Epstein shit, there's kids, there's this, there's that, there's guns, there's drugs, there's all of this shit. They raid the house, they do all this shit, and what are we seeing play out right now? A domestic dispute.
Yeah, no.
By someone who was a willing participant, and look at the fucking text.
Definitely willing.
Come pound my pussy and call the Punisher.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
let's just be real. I'm not trying to be his advocate. He did some fucked up shit. Like, that videotape is reprehensible.
Right.
You know, some of the shit that I've heard, look, it's fucked up. But at the end of the day, what he's on trial for and what they are using is bullshit. How do you have a RICO charge with one motherfucker?
But you know they got, what's the name on the same thing, which I thought that was shocking.
Who?
The singer that just went from Chicago.
R. Kelly?
R. Kelly. His RICO was by himself too.
I don't know how you do that.
Which is crazy.
Well, and the crazy thing to me is, and I'm not trying to get whatever, but I mean, they mentioned some names on the stand of some people that had a meeting with some of his staff. They paid the staff and told them, don't fuck with Puffy. There's your RICO charge. But because they're in a different position, ain't nobody going to charge them.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you're the head of Universal, ain't nobody going to say nothing.
You know
what
what Trump just said?
About pardoning him?
Yeah. Or at least thinking about pardoning him?
He's going to pardon him.
I know. I already thought. I said this shit. I said it doesn't matter what happens to Puffy. Trump's going to pardon him. I said that shit like 4 episodes
what Trump
ago.
said is, Trump said, anyone who's a supporter of me, I'm going to pardon. He literally just said that too.
So, but I thought Diddy wasn't a supporter of him.
He wasn't. But did you see what he said this morning? We were friends at one point, but when I got into politics, he said some unnice things.
Right.
But
I feel like Trump's like an easy. He forgives you.
You know what I mean? Look, Trump. Look, the one
Trump
thing I can say.
vindictive.
No, he's vindictive and petty. But there is one thing about him. If you are supporting him and there is joint interest involved,
there you go.
It's forgivable.
I mean, look at Cruz. Look at freaking every person in his cabinet, Vance included, said this guy's the fucking Antichrist.
He forgives.
He forgives.
No, but look, but you know, I think that's how the world should be. Do you know what I'm saying? Is be able, not in that case, because dude's loony, but you know what I mean? It's like, look, you know, settle your differences and work together. You know, heavy debate, but compromise.
Why do you think Diddy is in the situation that he's in? Because you're probably
Diageo.
Is definitely that.
Dude,
but I thought they settled.
So
they settled a year before.
No, that was the other. That was the other one. That was Ciroc. This wasn't the tequila.
That's a tequila
No,
one, right?
I thought he dropped the case against Diageo.
They don't forgive. They don't forget. They don't care.
He said he was suing him for racism.
Yeah, I know, but they had already dropped that before.
That was the Ciroc case. We're talking about Diageo.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong again, but
okay.
I mean, but regardless, whoever he pissed off,
and for one, this is what we talked about a long time ago.
And here's what's nutty about it. On the Instagram, when he got charged, I said this because look, I've been doing media a long fucking time. Okay, this case, it just so happens, and this is another thing I have to think has something to do with it. The Abercrombie and Finch case came out. And the Weinstein case was coming out. Okay? So here's the thing. They raid his house. 2 weeks before the raid, they released the videotape the same time they're prosecuting the Abercrombie and Finch guys. Now, the Abercrombie and Finch guys who are really doing trafficking, who have really have an enterprise of getting these young straight men, drugging them and doing all of this kind of stuff, they let them off on a $5 million bail. 50. Yeah. They give Diddy. He offers 50 million. His jet, his passports, his family's passports, his property, everything, and they say no. Why? Because you are the diversion for letting these white guys go. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's how they've always treated hip hop. That's how they've always treated African Americans or Mexicans, or use it as something else to divert the attention. Why is Diddy in jail? Why couldn't he bail out?
Right.
Yeah, the bail thing don't make sense when everybody bailed out. But Diddy can't bail out.
Yeah, they're
crazy.
saying that he's a threatening guy, but if you take away, he said, no communications, I'll go on an ankle monitor, you can have all my phones, I mean.
Right.
What about the pot case?
I don't know.
What about him setting the whole thing's out that he like set up that murder?
I don't think
he
that,
set up all these other things. Like,
look,
is this dude just talking shit? Like,
I don't know.
He's been thrown in all that shit.
Look, everybody knows who shot Pac and everybody knows who shot Big. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's an enigma inside of a paradox. Is it something that he said? Is it money that changed hands? Is it just some beef? You know what I mean? But a perfect example is that night at the Flavor Jam when I had Snoop Dogg. Well, Biggie was on that bill too. And he wasn't dead yet, and Snoop and him were dancing on stage together.
But Snoop always said he was cool with Biggie in the East Coast. So
was it two people's issues, and like Suge and Puff, or was it some rap shit?
Right.
Or was it? Who the fuck knows?
So
but,
when you were
two young artists died.
Right.
Okay. That's what's fucked up.
Did you have any interaction with when you ran Power pretty much with Suge?
Oh, I got along great with Suge.
Oh, okay.
You know, it was funny because when Suge first got out of jail, we had that Powerhouse with Snoop Dogg, right? It was right around the same time. So the Anaheim Police Department comes into my office and says, we're canceling your show. And I said, why? And they said, because Suge just got out of jail. We heard he's coming to your show. So I'm like, well, why didn't somebody just call him and invite him? At least we'll know where they're at. And he's like, good, you do that. And I was like, so I called Death Row, and I'm like, hey, Cedric, it's Damien from Power. I want to talk to Suge. He goes, yeah, right. Hangs up the phone. Call back. 953-4200, motherfucker. It's Damien. Tell Suge to fucking call me.
Right.
Hang up the phone. Next thing I know, oh shit, well, people usually don't call up here for Suge. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, so he's at home. Let me three-way him in. Yo, what's up? I said, yo, I hear you coming to Powerhouse. He's like, yo, and I wasn't thinking. You know what I mean? Like, I was just in this other thing. And he goes, what's a Powerhouse? I'm like, you dumb motherfucker. You know what it is. Whoops. You know what I mean? Or whatever it was. You know, don't be dumb, motherfucker. You know, whatever it was. And he laughed. And he goes, I heard you were a crazy white boy.
That's funny.
And I was like, oh, great. And he goes, I said, look, why don't you come be my guest, stay in the suite with my family, and we can at least have a relationship, because at some point you're going to want to release a record. I'm the guy that you're going to need to do that.
I love it.
And he was like, no one's ever invited me to something before. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, but you show me respect, I'll show you respect. I'll be there. And I was like, cool. Anaheim Police Department comes to me and says, if he's got one extra person, we're shutting this whole thing down. So Anaheim Police Department comes up to me as the show's starting. They're like, Suge brought one extra person. We're shutting this down. And I'm like, what? And I look over and I see Suge and just a sea behind him of cops and gangbangers and just everything. And I'm like, okay. And Suge goes, I left him at the door. And I'm like, what? And he goes, Dame, I told you, you will not have a problem for me. And I was like, great. So he walked in, watched the whole show. It was totally cool. Now, the next morning, which was a Sunday, I'm hearing a knock on my front door. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm not answering that. Knocks harder. I'm like, what the fuck? I go downstairs. I open the door, and there's a basket on my doorstep. I didn't give this motherfucker my address. With my compliment, Suge Knight.
I love it.
But from then on, we had a great relationship. Like
Fuck was in the basket. He was sending baskets out?
Yeah, he said,
basket from Suge.
Cristal and a box of cigars.
Oh,
Go
shit.
figure.
Okay.
I love it.